I remember the sound the gravel made when I pulled into my parents' driveway that morning. Early sunlight, pale and cold. I had packed light, just a duffel bag and a small suitcase in the trunk. My sister insisted cruises were easier if you traveled light. The driveway was empty. No sedan, no SUV, no suitcases stacked by the garage like they usually were before trips. For a moment I thought I had the date wrong. I walked to the front door and unlocked it with the spare key they'd given me years ago. The key that had quietly turned me into the family's unofficial backup plan for everything. Inside, the house smelled faintly of toast and dog shampoo. The golden retriever padded toward me from the hallway. Max, his tail began sweeping the air the moment he saw someone new in the house. "Hey, buddy," I said automatically. He leaned against my leg like he had been waiting. The kitchen lights were still on. One mug in the sink, a dish towel folded over the faucet. But the house had that strange stillness of a place people had already left. I checked the dining room, then the living room. Empty. My phone rang before the confusion could fully settle. My mother's name on the screen. I answered. "Where are you?" I asked. Laughter answered first. Wind, voices, my sister talking loudly somewhere nearby. "Oh good, you made it to the house," my mother said. There was something in her tone light rushed. "We're already at the port. Boarding starts soon." I didn't respond immediately. My sister's voice jumped in from somewhere beside her. "Max loves you anyway," she called. "And you were coming by this morning." Then she laughed. "Don't worry, we'll bring you back a special gift." Behind them I heard a loudspeaker announcement echoing through a terminal building. "Cruise boarding information." I looked down at the dog. Max stared back with the gentle, trusting patience of animals who assume the world is reasonable. "So, you left already," I said. "It just made more sense," my father added in the background. "You're great with him." My mother said something about food being in the freezer. Then the call ended. The silence after that felt bigger than the house. Max wagged his tail again. I unpacked my suitcase. The first 2 days passed slowly. Dogs make good companions for quiet days. Max needed walks, food, brushing, simple routines that didn't ask questions. The house itself felt different when it held only one person. Family photographs lined the hallway. Birthdays, vacations, school graduations. I noticed something strange about them once I started looking closely. In many of the pictures, I was slightly off to the side, not absent, just peripheral. The third morning, I started sorting through the pile of unopened mail on the kitchen counter. My mother had always meant to go through it, when things slowed down. Things never slowed down. Bills, advertisements, insurance letters. Then an envelope with an official seal. I opened it without thinking much about it. By the time I finished reading, Max had come to rest his chin on my knee. The notice was clear. A property issue. Paperwork that should have been handled weeks earlier. A deadline that would have passed 2 days after their cruise departure. Ignored long enough, it would have triggered penalties and possibly a formal review involving the house itself. I stared at the date again. They hadn't even opened the letter. For a long time I just sat there, not angry, just tired in a way I hadn't recognized before. Then I picked up the phone. The office transferred me twice before I reached the right department. I explained the situation carefully, calmly. The woman on the line asked several questions. "Yes," I said. "Yes, I have access to the property. Yes, I can come in to verify the documents." Max rode in the back seat when I drove into town. The office smelled like printer toner and carpet cleaner. The clerk behind the counter spoke in that neutral, professional tone people use when they deal with problems all day. It took 2 appointments and 3 forms. But by the end of the week, the issue was resolved. Stamped documents sat neatly inside a folder. The clerk handed them to me. "You caught this just in time?" she said. I nodded. That was all. By the time my parents returned from the cruise, the house looked cleaner than when they left. Max had developed a habit of waiting by the front window around sunset. The afternoon they arrived, I heard the car before I saw it, suitcases rolling across the driveway, my sister laughing loudly about something. The front door opened. Max ran forward in a blur of fur. My mother stepped inside first, then my father, my sister behind them. They were still mid-conversation when they noticed the kitchen table. The folders sat in the center, neatly arranged. My sister walked closer first. "What's this?" My father opened one of the folders. The official stamp caught the light. My mother leaned over his shoulder. The room grew quiet. "What happened?" she asked finally. I explained. Briefly, plainly. The letter, the deadline, the appointment, the resolution. My sister tried to laugh again at first. "Wow," she said, "good thing someone opened the mail." But my father was still reading. His expression had changed. "You handled all of this?" he asked. "Yes." There was a long pause. Authority doesn't always arrive in the form of a person walking through the door. Sometimes it sits quietly in paperwork, stamped, sign, undeniable. My mother closed the folder slowly. "We didn't realize." "I know," I said. And I did. I packed my bag again that evening. Max followed me to the front door. My parents were still at the kitchen table, rereading the documents. No one tried to stop me. Before leaving, I placed a small note beside the folders. Nothing emotional. Just a few lines explaining that next time they should arrange dog care before leaving town, and that I wouldn't be available. Outside, the air felt different. Max watched from the doorway as I walked down the driveway. I knelt to scratch behind his ears one last time. "Take care of them," I told him quietly. He wagged his tail. Then I stood up and left. For the first time in years, the silence around me didn't feel like something being taken away. It felt like space.